Coming up on Network Africa, Ghana's president and first lady receive the country's first COVID-19 jabs publicly. South Africa's government eases COVID-19 restrictions as coronavirus cases drop in the country. Plus, at least 10 people die in the Democratic Republic of Congo after a militia attack. Hello and welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Layo Adegoke. We begin the program today with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend.
Police and demonstrators clashed in Niamey. Post-election violence erupted for a fourth consecutive day on Friday in the Niger capital, Niamey, where demonstrators contest the results of the recent presidential election. The result declared ruling party candidate Mohamed Bazoum the winner of the Sunday's runoff election with 55.75% of the vote. His rival, Mahamadou Ousmane, a former president, alleged fraud on the Electoral Commission result, claiming he won with 50.3%. Since then, at least 2 people have been killed and 468 detained during protests by Ousmane's supporters in the capital, Niamey. Tunisia's biggest political party, Ennahda, rallied an immense crowd of supporters in the capital on Saturday in a show of strength that could fuel an ongoing dispute between the president and the prime minister. In one of the biggest demonstrations in Tunisia since the 2011 revolution, tens of thousands of party faithful marched through central Tunis, chanting, "The people want national unity." The country's latest political crisis began when the 2019 election delivered a fragmented parliament while propelling Kais Saied, an independent, to the presidency. On Saturday, gunmen in Nigeria released 27 schoolboys and other people abducted in the north-central state of Niger. On their arrival to Minna, the state capital, they were received by State Governor Abubakar Bello, who confirmed that the kidnapped victims were 38 in number. Governor Bello told journalists during the reception that the people had been medically checked and will be monitored as they reunite with their families. Meanwhile, Pope Francis on Sunday prayed for the release of more than 300 girls kidnapped in Nigeria.
Join my voice to those of the bishops of Nigeria to condemn the cowardly kidnapping of 317 girls taken away from their school.
The gunmen seized more than 300 girls in a nighttime raid on a school in the northwest Nigeria on Friday, February 26th.
Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo and First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo have today become the first people in Ghana to receive their coronavirus vaccines. The president had, together with the First Lady, Vice President and Second Lady, pledged to take the vaccine publicly to reassure citizens that the jab is safe. On Sunday, President Akufo-Addo urged people in the West African state to ignore conspiracy theories surrounding coronavirus vaccines ahead of the launch of its nationwide inoculation campaign against the virus. Ghana was the first country to receive vaccines as part of the global COVAX scheme aimed at providing poorer nations vaccines to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, Fred Smith, Joy News TV correspondent, joins us now for more details on this story. He joins us from Accra. Hello, Fred. Thank you so much for joining us. Talk to us about today's inoculation of the president and his wife. What more can you tell us?
Well, following Ghana's decision to procure some vaccines to protect its citizens, there are some concerns from the public. Some persons who thought that the vaccines that were being brought were unsafe. And so the government has taken upon itself to educate the public on the safety aspect of this vaccine. Not all persons accepted this as gospel, so the government had to show the way. So the president decided to be the first person to take the jab, so everybody will accept or believe that the vaccine is safe. So today, he took the jab together with his wife, and then later the vice president also took the jab with his wife as well. And so far, we have four persons: the president, his wife, the vice president, and his wife have taken the jab so far.
Well, just like you said, the president is trying to boost the citizens' confidence in vaccination, but there's still some, some sort of skepticism. What has been the reaction to today's inoculation?
Well, it's been great. I think that has, to a very large extent, changed perception among a lot of Ghanaians who believe that the vaccines are safe. But of course, there's a poll on Twitter that we put up to try and gauge if people were really, buying the government's story. Now, we asked the question: the President Nana Akufo-Addo has received the first dose of the first consignment of COVID-19 vaccines in Ghana. Does that inspire you to take the jab? And we've had, it was put up in the last 1 hour, 288 persons have voted so far. And out of that, we have 47.2% saying yes and 52.8% saying no. And so opinions are more or less divided, still divided, in spite of the president taking the jab first.
Well, Ghana was the first country to receive this vaccine as part of the global COVAX scheme. Will there be any other purchases of other vaccines from the country?
Yes, indeed. The country is expected to take delivery of some more vaccines in the next 1 week or two. And this is according to the presidential advisor on health, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, who spoke yesterday on this issue. Aside this, the Ghana's corporate bodies are coming together to also procure 5 million doses of the vaccine and bring that in. Details of that have not been shared yet, but we expect that to come in to augment what government has already brought. As you may know, we have 600,000 vaccines already in the country, and from tomorrow, the rollout will begin. In this rollout, there are 3 regions that will benefit: the Greater Accra region, where we have some of the highest cases, the Ashanti, the second city, which also has the second highest, and then the hotspots of the Kaswa, an adjoining city to the capital, which is also a major problem area. Will begin the inoculation, but those to benefit will be the frontline health workers, frontline government officials, frontline legislature and judiciary will be given the jabs tomorrow.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Fred Smith, Joy News TV correspondent. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, healthcare workers in Côte d'Ivoire's capital, Abidjan, will be the first to be inoculated as the West African nation kicks off its COVID-19 vaccination campaign. It is the first national rollout of the UN-backed COVAX program. That's the global vaccine sharing initiative to help poorer countries control the pandemic. The program will distribute an initial 500,000 doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. COVAX is the biggest vaccine procurement plan in human history, designed to distribute 2 billion doses by the end of this year. But this only covers 20% of the populations of developing countries. Most rich countries have ordered sufficient stocks to treat their entire populations. In the meantime, 24 African countries will soon receive COVID-19 vaccines from the UN-backed COVAX program. They include Kenya and Nigeria that will receive the vaccines on Tuesday, March the 2nd. Kenya will get 1.25 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, and vaccinations are expected to start immediately. Kenya's Health Minister Mutahi Kagwe says priority will be given to frontline health workers and the elderly, while Nigeria will receive 3.92 million vaccine doses, becoming the third West African country to benefit from the facility. And Nigeria expects to receive a total of 16 million doses from COVAX in the next few months. Well, it's less than 24 hours to the arrival of the COVID-19 vaccine in Nigeria, and the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, has been speaking on preparedness and administration of the vaccines. Dr. Mamora says the vaccine will be administered in the order of priority. Well, here's more on what he said. He was our guest on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
The first will be the frontline workers, health workers. Because they are in the front line, they are facing the battle heavily, so they will come first. Then, secondly, we will look at the elderly, those above 60, 65, and particularly with comorbidities, that is, they have existing or they have existing health conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, things like that. They will also be, in that group. And of course, we will also be looking at the strategic leadership, of the country. And then, of course, we will be looking at some other people, like people at the, point of entry, the border posts, managers and things like that. So this will be the order in terms of priority for now. The fact that you have got the vaccination is no license for you to let yourself loose. You don't let down your guard. No, the things that we have said will still be in place in terms of non-pharmaceutical interventions, particularly at a point when we are yet to establish what we call the herd immunity. That is, and we cannot have that until minimum of about 70% of the people will have been vaccinated. So it's just, playing safe. So nobody should be under any illusion as to the fact that, no, I have taken the vaccination, then I can be free, I can let loose. No, it doesn't work that way.
Still ahead on the program. Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala begins her work as the new head of the World Trade Organization. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. South Africa has returned to COVID-19 level 1 restrictions as the second surge numbers dwindle to just over 1,000 daily confirmed cases. President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation last night, where he gave the nation an update on the vaccine rollout, which is now on the way. He also announced the details of the revised lockdown restrictions, but appealed to the nation to keep adhering to safety regulations because the risk of another surge is very present. A second batch of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine arrived in the country to continue the phase 1 of the rollout plan focused on healthcare workers.
80,000 more doses of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine arrived at the OR Tambo International Airport early on Saturday, making a total of 160,000 doses so far. And President Ramaphosa told South Africans Sunday night there's more on the way.
We have recently signed an agreement with Johnson & Johnson to secure 11 million doses. Of these doses, 2.8 million doses will be delivered in the second quarter, and the rest spread throughout the year. We've also secured 20 million doses from Pfizer, which will be delivered from the second quarter. Additionally, we have secured 12 million vaccine doses from the COVAX facility, and we are in the process of finalizing our dose allocation from the African Union.
More than 67,000 health workers have been vaccinated, but this is a far cry from the 1.5 million expected in phase 1 of the vaccine rollout plan. According to the president, phase 2 is expected to begin in April or early May for essential service workers and people with comorbidities. Meanwhile, according to the government's risk-adjusted strategy, the lockdown level has been revised from 3 to 1.
This will mean that the hours of curfew will now move from 12 midnight to 4 a.m. Second part is that gatherings will be permitted, subject to limitations on size, adherence to social distancing and other health protocols. And these gatherings will include these following types of gatherings: religious, social, political, and cultural gatherings. Night vigils or other gatherings before or after funerals are still not permitted. Nightclubs will remain closed. The sale of alcohol will be permitted according to normal license provisions. However, no alcohol may be sold during the hours of curfew.
Not everyone is, however, happy with the reviewed restrictions. The Alcohol Policy Association is worried the government has reduced restrictions on alcohol sale and consumption too quickly, as they believe that the string of public holidays this month and next in South Africa would lead people to let their guard down. Also not celebrating yet are people in the event sector who are unhappy that hundreds of thousands of jobs and revenue have and are still being lost because the sector is still clamped down. President Ramaphosa, on his part, wants everyone to continue to adhere to health safety regulations as the risk of a third COVID surge is still very present. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
To other stories now, the army in the Democratic Republic of Congo says at least 10 people have been killed by a militia in the east of the country. A military spokesperson says the Allied Democratic Forces beheaded 8 people in one village and shot 2 more in another nearby village. They also burned down houses. The ADF has stepped up attacks on civilians since the military launched an offensive against the group 18 months ago. The militia originated as an Islamist movement in Uganda, but has not staged attacks there for several years. Almost 100 migrants have been rescued off the coast of Libya, with 15 people dying at sea. Most of those rescued on Sunday are African migrants from Cameroon, Sudan, and Mali. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, says many of the survivors suffered from burns and hypothermia. On Friday, IOM Libya said more than 150 migrants had been intercepted and returned to the country by its Coast Guard. It also notes that at least 3,700 men, women and children have been returned to Libya this year, whose conditions have continued to worsen after being detained. Well, the World Trade Organization's first female and first African Director General, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has begun work today, ending a 6-month leadership void at the global trade watchdog. After a long campaign that was derailed in the late stages by a Trump administration veto, the 66-year-old Nigerian was finally confirmed as boss last month. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala has said that addressing the health and economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic would be a key priority. However, there are concerns in Washington and other capitals about China's trade policies and how well equipped the WTO is to deal with them. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala is known to be reform-minded, but will be constrained by the wishes of member countries. Well, in the aftermath of disrupted school education caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, British painter Sasha Jaffrey, alongside Dubai Cares organization, UNICEF and other collaborators are working to raise $30 million to help connect all schools in the world to the internet. At a press conference preceding the unveiling ceremony in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, Jaffrey promises Nigerian children, many of whom contributed to his record-breaking painting, Journey of Humanity, that they would also benefit from his COVID-19 project called Humanity Inspired. Our correspondent, Mayowa Adegoke, who covered this historic event, now reports.
Renowned British painter Sasha Jaffrey unveils his historic artwork, Journey of Humanity, in the presence of Emirati royalties and VIPs at the Atlantis Ballroom, where he created the masterpiece last year. Measuring about 2,000 square meters, the size of 2 football fields, the painting, now recognized by Guinness World Record as the largest art canvas and biggest social artistic philanthropic project in history, has been divided into 70 panels to be auctioned. Proceeds will be used to help children across the world.
Why aren't we connecting to the soul of the earth and the child inside us? Why? That's my question, and I hope the painting can answer it.
What is the plan? Should children in Nigeria, underprivileged children, expect to benefit from this?
In answer to your question is the pregnant mother. You can only see her head there, but when you get up on the platform, you'll see her stomach. And inside her stomach is artwork from children from over 140 countries of the world. And millions of them are Nigerian.
Nigerian children, many of whom contributed artworks now embedded into Sasha's painting, will benefit from proceeds through the UNICEF and International Telecommunication Union ITU-backed GIGA, a project committed to connecting every school in the world to the internet. An estimated 1.7 billion children and 60 million teachers across the world were affected by disrupted education due to COVID.
We're going to hopefully impose that every country has to have policies for children. As they have the right for education, they have to have a right for connectivity. So whenever there's a large-scale disruption in the future for any reason, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's war, whether it's natural disaster, education does not get disrupted the way it did last March.
This royal unveiling ceremony marks the beginning of another phase for the project.
With the ribbon cut at this royal unveiling, Sasha Jaffrey's Journey of Humanity will now gradually make its way into auction houses across the world to hopefully raise $30 million. The plan is to raise at least $30 million to help children across the globe. From here at the ballroom in Atlantis, Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, Mayowa Adegoke for Channels Television News.
And that's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke. Bye for now.